Welcome to Legacy Conversations, a channel where we preserve military memories and history.
Hello everyone, welcome here to Legacy. I'm excited because, when we were in South Africa, we went to different places and we were treated very well. And one of the places we went to was Cape Town, which is not a particularly favorite destination for me. But Rebecca really loved it there very much. And we lived in Simonstown. Had a very nice Airbnb with two wonderful hosts as well. Really great people. And we could look over the bay all the time. And often we would see the Navy ship, the frigate, the SAS Amatola, which would sail out and then sail back in. It was an amazing sight. It was really something which I will remember for the rest of my days. It's very ironic because I wrote a book, I think codenamed Phoenix, where we actually sink that very same ship. Fictional, of course, but there's always a reason why I write these things. I don't write books just for entertainment. I also write books to warn. And it is so that I became aware of plans which terrorists have to actually sink such ships, to get the old Q ship principle back into a fore. It wasn't used for a couple of decades, but the idea would be to get this ship close, and if you can get it close enough, you open fire. Well, it's got no armor, and if you hit the right spots and you can take out the essential spots on it with anti-tank rockets, I'm fairly convinced that you can actually severely damage such a ship, even sink it. It's possible. That's why I wrote the book. It's to warn. But I was very glad to see the ship still sailing around. I'm proud of our Navy, man. I really love our Navy. I have no problem with the Navy. I hear all the rumors, all the stories, and yes, in this series of the Naval Museum, we have Admiral Angel Soderland speaking to us. He's also the man in charge of a submarine, or part of a submarine, SAS Assegai, the old Johanna, as they called her, which is now a museum ship, and it's about to open, probably open by the time you see this video. And if you're ever close to Simonstown Naval Base, please go and look at that submarine as well. It's well worth your time. It's a fantastic effort, and we were really treated well by the Admiral as well as the naval staff. We had no problems whatsoever. At one stage, we got lost, and we ended up with a Navy diving school, or where they train the divers anyway. Very fit-looking men standing around there, I must tell you. And totally professional, of course, what you expect of a Navy. And they were very kind, very friendly, even at the gates. Everybody was just thoroughly military professionals. There's no other word for it. There's fantastic people. I understand now if you wish to join the South African Navy, which is small, but professional, once again, that word, you need to have mathematics as well as science at a fairly high degree. Otherwise, they won't even look at you. And of course, to go onto the ships, or even more than that, the submarines, and so you really need to be something very special. But we were there to record the Naval Museum, and they had absolutely no problem with us. In fact, they gave me a whole bunch of mementos, which I will at the future show you in another video, because I still have to frame it and put it in my study and everywhere. It's like really nice little gifts and things we got as we went along. And we decided that we're going to make very short clips, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, sometimes a little bit less even, to show you different parts of a naval museum at Simonstown. And I did that on purpose, and I did that because I want to get you to go there. I don't want to show everything in one video, and it is very nice, and we don't get the publicity for the museum which we actually want to get. And so the Admiral was kind enough to stand there right next to the exhibits, and he would explain to us what it's about. I think at some stage I started annoying him because I kept on saying that I donated 500 rands, and I expect you people to match me doing that. And if you can, of course. Just to raise funds. Because, guys, I've been to several museums now. I've been to the one in Tetsolo or Tetsong, as we call it, at Saxon World in Johannesburg. I've been at the SAF in Port Elizabeth. I've been at the SAF in Swartkop. And we made fantastic videos, which is going to come out. And, they all say to me the same thing. They say, Koos, you know what? We don't really get the support what we should get from government, and they have other priorities, which we understand and respect. Therefore, it is up to us as veterans and as those who care to do something. And to do something means to donate money or to donate your time or donate your skills. If you want to go to one of these museums and assist, then please contact these people. Their details would be in every single video where we talk about that particular museum. Just get involved. You can't sit back here and not get involved. You have to volunteer now. You have to stand up, because this is your heritage. This is the actual machines and actual history. You can stand there and you can actually touch them. It is fantastic. And of course, those of you who've seen Rebecca's video, which she made, where we spoke about South Africa until she left on the 10th of December to come back home here to Thailand. I was still another 6 weeks in the country. She, she sort of didn't mention it, but I made sure to mention it. As you walk into the Naval Museum downstairs, then you'll see there's like an air raid bunker. Yeah, go and look at that thing. Very, very fascinating things happen in that air raid bunker. Go there, and then if you survive it, just crawl out and then go to the actual museum, which is 2 buildings, which is, once again, for South Africa, actually weird, because you're talking about 300-year-old buildings there, at least, if my mathematics isn't completely wrong, which it might be, but it's old. But the Admiral is explaining all these things. I also decided I'm not going to make a separate video for every one of these short clips. So you're going to see the same video with me in every one of the clips, because I have the same message anyway, and it's probably longer than the actual clip, or about the same in length. Please forgive me. We are really, really busy here with videos and editing, and we are being swamped, which is a very good thing, and I'm very grateful, and all honor to God, not to me, that we are privileged to bring you the South African military history in a video format. We're really, really privileged to do that. But anyway, to make a long story short, let's quickly see what our sponsor has to say, Vic. Because as you can imagine, it cost a bit of money to make these videos. About 90,000 rands, actually. That's what we spent while we were there, including the aeroplane tickets, things like that. There's something I want to bring to your attention, and that is George M. James. That's an author. And he wrote many, many books, dozens of books, and all of them has to do with South African military, has to do with espionage, counterterrorism, that type of thing. And each of those books are written with a specific purpose. And there are 53 of them. And George M. James has been a sponsor of this channel like in forever, since the very first video came out. So whatever George M. James books you buy, come back to Legacy. And they are available on audio, they're available on Kindle, they're available in paper, hardcover and softcover. All of them are available on Amazon. Some of the books are available in South Africa as well, in softcover. And I'll leave the details here. I urge you to have a look at it. Go to the website, have a look at the website, and I'm sure you're going to discover marvelous things there. I can be very blunt to you. If you like Legacy, if you want to support Legacy, want to support us in what we do, then please go and look at the George M. James books. Get hold of them. You're going to learn things which you didn't know. And a lot of the things we've discussed on Legacy has also come out in those books. And what is fascinating, those books were written before Legacy came. So we were deeper knowledge than what I think most of us would realize. So again, guys, George M. James, go and look at it.
Hello everybody, we're back here at the museum in Simonstown, busy with a series. If you haven't seen the other videos, please have a look around, see what you can do. I'm just getting a little bit closer to the camera, don't worry about that. We have the Admiral here, and he's going to tell us about this Wasp, I believe, helicopter, standing here right next to us. Can you tell me about it? And I also heard the story about Admiral Bierman.
Right, the Westland Wasp HAS helicopter anti-submarine Mark I, we see next to us as one of the first 16 that were delivered to South Africa in 1963. At that stage, our Navy was basically still using the old World War II frigates, but we had ordered the new type frigates, and we also converted two of our destroyers, the Jan van Riebeck and Simon van der Stel, to carry 2 helicopters each. The advantage of this was that it could you could now drop a torpedo next to a submarine, known submarine position. We used to use the Mark 44 torpedoes, an anti-submarine torpedo, which would locate the submarine. The Wasp revolutionized us because for the first time we had air capability as well. And the frigates were eventually converted as well, so we had 1 Wasp on every frigate, each of the 3 frigates, or we could carry 2 on the Simon and JVR, though we never had them all together at once. The South Africans proved to be very, very good flyers, and if you look over here, you'll see this very small deck on the back of a destroyer, and destroyers were long, sleek, and they used to roll quite a bit. So to land on that was quite an achievement. Shortly after we got them, an American task force with a carrier came around the Cape. And they invited our Chief of the Navy, who went out on our Simon van der Stel, if I remember correctly. And they then, when they met up, they said that the weather was not good enough for them to fly. So instead, Admiral Bierman asked, "Can I come to you?" And they took off, landed on the ship, to the amazement of the Americans, not so much landing on their ship, but the fact that they were going to go back and land on a little destroyer. So it showed you how good we were, or full of confidence our South African Air Force was at that stage. They were very good helicopters. They're very simple. When I was the anti-submarine warfare officer on the frigate, we had one of these. And they were a new dimension because you no longer just used your mortars, such as we had in World War II or the later mortar Mark X. We now had the ability to project a further distance.
This would be a homing torpedo we dropped.
Oh, very much. It's an active Mark 44. And in fact, it's been modified in South Africa as well, and we've now got an even more accurate type capability as technical advances come. We don't use them anymore, but we keep the technology alive at IMT, which is Institute for Maritime Technology.
I've heard a story, Admiral, that during Op Savannah, one of the frigates went very far north, by which I mean beyond Luanda. They rescued some...
President Steyn went to Port Ambrizette, and they withdrew, I think, I can't remember the numbers, but it was a brigadier, a major, and about 22 artillerymen who had been trapped. I use the word trapped. They were to the north of Luanda, and all of a sudden the FNLA retreated because the Cubans had arrived with little fanfare, and we sent the frigate in between the helicopter and their boats. They extracted them all off a beach at night in the dark.
Yeah, that's true. That's when Holden Roberto people tried
Holden Roberto.
to ran away. Do you think if this very helicopter was involved there, or don't we know?
We can check, but I'm not sure which it is. It should have a badge of the ship on it, but that's normally touched up. I just know that one of my first time with one of these was during an exercise in the bay when we were told to abandon ship from a minesweeper, and we all thought this is a big joke, etc. And then they chucked a life raft in and we were thrown overboard. And we sat bobbing out there for about 2 hours before the chopper came. The first thing I discovered was that when you're outside, I did that not to get inside because it was rather sickening inside, that every time she came over, they assumed that I was the helping hand and I had to pass the strop in, and I was about the second last to go off and frozen by that time.
Are there any rules in the Navy? Like, on civilian ships, women and children, the Birkenhead rule? There's such a thing in the Navy?
Well,
Officers
it's international, but we didn't have women on our ships in those days.
Okay, but the Navy vessel will follow the same rules?
Well, I presume so.
Okay.
We just do it more orderly anyway.
Yeah.
That is for ships where you've got non-military people.
Okay.
Normally a ship will gives, in fact, everybody goes or nobody goes.
Is it true that the commander goes last?
Well, they like to think so.
Because I remember with what's the ship we sank here off the coast here at Hole in the Wall, Hole in the Rock, in the 1990s, passenger ship. Oceanus.
Oh, Oceanus.
And I believe the captain was one of the first to actually...
Well, he tried very hard to get off first and eventually sneaked past them and got off before most of the people.
But that's not the
Merchant Navy.
tradition of a sea server.
That's Merchant Navy.
Yeah, that's Merchant Navy. Okay, we'll leave it there before we get into trouble. Thank you, sir. We really appreciate it. Thank you for that.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to receive notifications.
Right, so...
Good coxswain.
Yeah, you have to keep quiet. Please. Go away. Okay, guys. We were telling you a story about the Mini. We were telling about the First World War.